Greetings, Saber fans. It's your old pal Megtooth Sith here. The Guinness is about on this one for sure. It's a it's a two Saber weekend. It's pretty awesome. But at any rate, I'm in the 501st Legion, and I'm a Kylo Ren there. But before I joined, I always had an admiration for the 501st Legion. I always wanted to join, and I wanted to join by building a Stormtrooper, a TK outfit. Well, here in Wilmington, North Carolina, there's a Stormtrooper that shows up at all these community events and charity events, and basically, he does it for free. He doesn't do it for any money, and the guy is poor. He's a starving artist, and he did this to spread his love of Star Wars to the community of Wilmington, North Carolina. And he wasn't in the 501st Legion yet, but I remember seeing, Robert, the Cape Fear Stormtrooper, all over Wilmington, and just being inspired by his costume and his love of Star Wars to want to build my own costume. And then I built my Kylo Ren and joined the 501st Legion. And the cool part is that Robert Lentz, the Cape Fear Stormtrooper, and I were both approved into the 501st Legion Carolina Garrison on the same week. So Robert was a huge inspiration to me. So a couple of months back, I think it was like September, October, this has been a long time in the works. But Robert brings this, basically a tent pole to me that he had been carrying around for years. Who knows how long he'd been carrying this thing around in his box. And this thing's all cut up because this is, a portion of his poor tent pole that didn't survive the build, because I had to get rid of some of it, or the Saber would have been too long. But it has this unique texture to it, and I'm hoping that texture comes out on camera. But it's almost like a groove, a real fine groove texture all over it. But anyway, Robert thought that would make a great lightsaber. And he brings me this tent pole and says, "Hey, can you make a lightsaber out of this?" And I said, "Sure." And so he brought me the tent pole, and basically, I have some additional work that I'm still doing on this saber, but for the most part, there's your tent pole lightsaber. It's no longer a tent pole. It's a lightsaber. It's got TCSS switch box number 10, a 16mm AV switch there. This is an RGB LED that's blade matching, and it's got your belt clip here. The pommel has a brass insert to give it some contrast. There's one of my, basically homemade custom-built blade plugs, which, I'm fixing to make another one of them here in a minute. And the cool part about this material is that the TCSS shroud material fit right over it really well. And also so I use this 1-inch inside diameter aluminum tube, and the cool part was the 1-inch inside diameter tube fit perfectly inside this tent pole. So this 1-inch inside diameter tube is my blade holder, but it's also my my LED holder. My 1-inch LED module is inside of there. So I was able to fit this aluminum pipe inside his tent pole, and then the shroud, which fits perfectly over. Let's see if I can find some TCSS shroud here. So here's a piece of TCSS shroud, and I use it for this is basically my protection when I'm putting stuff inside of Sabers. It's not going to fit in there because it's all cut up, but the shroud material fit perfectly over this stuff. So I brought the tent pole home, and I looked at all these things. Shroud fit over it, the 1-inch fit in it. Okay, so really quick, blade retention are these thumb screws here, so that's relatively easy. Loosen these, take your blade out, put your blade in, tighten them. There's your blade retention. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. That's easy. For the actual retention of this pommel piece, which all it is a pommel inside of, that's been secured inside of the shroud material with bolts. I bolted into the shroud material. And basically, when you tighten the hex screw on your belt clip, that basically keeps tension not only on the speaker housing, which there's your bass speaker, but it also holds the pommel on. So the chassis inside of this Saber, which gets crimped on by that pommel end, and here is the chassis, which it's powered by Nanobiscotte version 4, and I've also wired a power extender on there so that we get full RGB functionality out of this. It has a user replaceable 18650. There's no recharge port, so the only way to get the batteries freshened up is to pop a new battery in there. But that's how that works. So basically what you do is you line up this belt clip with the bottom of your Saber like that, and the belt clip needs to be facing down where the blade retention screws are facing up, and you hold that on tight, and then you just tighten your belt clip on, and that basically puts tension on the bottom of the Saber, and there, that holds it on. So let's boot this thing up.
This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight.
So there's 3 fonts on here. You get a blade out. I've made a custom blade plug here, which is pretty awesome. It's just made out of an air tool. And there you go. There's your custom homemade blade plug. This is a budget build for Robert, so budget it is. And by the way, I'm going to be replacing these thumb screws because I had some issues, but we'll just get it where it's working properly for the demonstration. There will be the second blade screw in here, but I'm having some issues with it. So let's turn these lights off and demo the first font here, which is Graflex. I have a limited area where I can swing this thing. So here's the cool part. Remember I told you this RGB, this LED that's behind the switch? So it matches on flash on flash, and also matches the blade. So it's pretty cool because this one doesn't have a crystal chamber in it. And also the 16mm switch is a illuminated cog switch from the custom Saber shop. That's pretty awesome, right? So then we're going to change fonts.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, Director.
Next font. I know you think this is gray meat that comes on the Nanobiscotte, but it is not gray meat. This is actually the Gray by Jedi Sith. See that matching RGB LED again. So there is the Cape Fear Stormtrooper's tent pole lightsaber, which is, pretty crazy. Made a lightsaber out of a tent pole. So in the end, I'm put that blade plug back in there. And put these retention screws back in there. I'm actually still doing some improvement work on this one retention screw because I had some issues with it. But the bottom line is, there you go. There she blows. And you can see the blade plug there. Isn't that awesome? See, now I can swing it when it doesn't have a blade on it. So now it doesn't have a blade on it. I want you to hear the swing sounds. I just can't swing it in here because I'm cramped quarters. Tentpole lightsaber for the Cape Fear Stormtrooper. Hope he likes it. It's pretty awesome.